Welcome to the Fantasy Football Prophet Podcast, hosted by Craig Phillips and Jeff Torrey. Visit us at fantasyfootballprophet.com. And now your hosts, Craig and Jeff.
Welcome everybody to the Fantasy Football Prophet Podcast. I'm Craig, joined by Jeff, and today we're going to finally get to our quarterback rankings as we wrap up our rankings for, our first rankings for the year. We have plenty more rankings episodes, I'm sure, this year. Probably in August we'll have a bunch more, but we'll do quarterbacks today. We'll have tight ends tomorrow, and that'll wrap it up for now. Quarterback-wise, I think it's safe to say Aaron Rodgers is going to be our number one quarterback. Jeff, I'm sure you have him number one.
He is number one.
So you didn't go crazy and try to be, interesting and pick somebody else. I don't think that's the way to go. It's Aaron Rodgers, and it's Aaron Rodgers. That's all you can go with.
I picked to be correct.
That's pretty much it. We'll get into that in a minute, though. We'll go over why we have Rodgers number one. But in the meantime, make sure you check us out on Twitter at DFFProphet. We're on Instagram at fantasyfootballprophet. Check out the website, fantasyfootballprophet.com. And you can always send us an email at fantasyfootballprophet@gmail.com if you have any questions about, probably this time of year, people are trying to get their keepers set now, starting to think about it. So if you have any questions about them, send us an email. You can send us a message on Twitter, all that good stuff. We also have our review contest going on. We've gone over that the last couple episodes, so I'm probably not going to go through the whole spiel now, but if you want more information on how to get entered into the contest to get a free podcast for your league, just check out the show notes on here. We'll have all that information. It's also on the website under our podcast heading, under the custom podcast. You can check that out. We'll have all the information there for you. But let's just get right into it, Jeff. Aaron Rodgers, number one quarterback on our list. I didn't have any hesitation with it. I don't think there's going to be any fall off. Maybe slightly. He's going to have a couple weeks where he's not going to score 40, maybe, but
yeah,
he's too good. Adams stepped up. Adams gave him another huge threat. How can you go wrong with Rodgers throwing the ball to Nelson and Adams and now Martellus Bennett, and who knows, maybe Randall Cobb shows up.
Yeah,
you don't even need him to.
Yeah, they're so deep at the wide receiver position. Aaron Rodgers is a cut above the rest, and I truly believe Aaron Rodgers is probably on a tier on all his own. And then after that, very good quarterbacks, but I have no doubt about him whatsoever.
Just like in our mock draft, we actually picked Rodgers in the third round, which is not what we would ever want to do.
No, it's not
it's not like our normal strategy. We always are. We talk about, we're obviously typically auction drafts, but once in a while, we do the snake drafts, see where we're going to go there. And our strategy always either don't spend on a quarterback or you get a quarterback late. But we're sitting there in the third round, and Aaron Rodgers is there, and it's just, he's so good, and it's just like, how do you not pick him sometimes? Because he can get those 40-point games when the other guys are getting 20. That is just huge. He's going to win weeks. He's not going to do that every week, but he's going to probably win you himself. 4 or 5 weeks? Just him. It's crazy how much better he is. It's just, I wouldn't, any other player I wouldn't be picking there. But Rodgers, I will break my strategy and pick him early. That's pretty much, and even auction wise, I've been thinking about this a lot. Like, do you spend on him?
I would have no problem if you wanted to build it into your scenario where you're going to spend money on a quarterback. It's going to be Aaron Rodgers. That's fine with me. I do find myself in a situation where sometimes certain players, you don't think they're going for enough, and you'll kind of bid up the other players.
Yep.
Aaron Rodgers is one of those, because I am not letting a team, especially in my division, but a team that I'm going to play, get Aaron Rodgers for undervalue, because that would be insane.
Yeah, and if you get stuck with him, you're fine. You'll be fine with it. I've seen ESPN put out their kind of early, if you go into like a mock draft or something, they have like their early auction list, their prices out. He's in the 20s right now, mid-20s, upper 20s, I think. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, that'd be fine.
I really am. It's not, obviously, it's not what I like to do normally, but I might make an exception for Rodgers this year. And that's it, though. That's the only player I would ever do this.
Quarterbacks, for in auction, I feel quarterback value drops off pretty significantly.
I don't even think I have to pay that necessarily for him, but it's the one player I'd take a risk on and do it. I mean, it just is. He's that good. I think he's that far above the other guys. I mean, yeah, somebody might step up, and we all thought, not we all, but a lot of people thought Cam Newton should be that number one last year, and he dropped off. Like, that's not the same thing. Aaron Rodgers has done this for so long and been so good. It just
and you don't have to worry about him not scoring because of his legs, which was Cam Newton's problem.
And again, though, he can do that too. He can actually get you some points.
Every once in a while he does.
You don't rely on that, and that's not what he does. But
yeah, I tell you, there's no player that scares me more. If you have to go and you're you have a close week, and he
yeah.
goes to Monday Night Football, and he's the guy playing.
If
I
you're
don't
up 40,
want it.
Going into Monday Night Football, you're up 40, and only Rodgers going for the team. I don't feel comfortable.
No, I'm watching that game just shivering because I don't want to lose that way.
Yeah, and his actual rushing numbers have gone up every year he's been in the league. It's crazy.
That's just stupid.
He had, like his first, not maybe not every, but the last 4 years they've gone up. 120 yards, then 269, then 344. Then last year he went at 369 with 4 rushing touchdowns.
I think people forget that he can actually move around a bit.
I mean, I would never ever count on it, but that's pretty good.
Yeah, and it's not like his weapons are going anywhere as well. I mean, he has a bunch of young guys as well that we haven't even seen a lot of, and we kind of mentioned Geronimo because he kind of popped up in the playoffs.
Yeah,
and now they have a new tight end. Obviously, Randall Cobb, when he was performing, he was pretty good. People are speculating he's a little more healthy this year. I just don't see any negative in taking Aaron Rodgers. No. And which makes it even more attractive for me.
Yeah, I just wouldn't go too crazy. I'm not picking him in the second round. I'm not paying $30-some for him at auction.
No,
but if you get him for the right price, and you're sitting in the third, especially the back end of a third round, he's there, and you can come around. Maybe like in our situation, we had a couple guys. Like I don't remember, was it maybe Keenan Allen or somebody we liked that we knew we'd get in the next round, and that's the guy we were going to pick there. Wait. Get Rodgers first and then pick your guy second in the next round.
Yeah, we kind of got stuck in a weird position where we didn't like anyone that much. And then that's the reason, if we got down to the nitty-gritty, that's the reason I love auction so much more than I love Snake as well, is because in Snake you get trapped in position of who you can choose from. Because either you're reaching and in auction you can go after the exact player that you want. Yep. So that's why we're big fans of auction, but obviously we talk about Snake as well.
All right, number 2. I'm curious, Jeff. We might have the same guy here.
I would assume.
We might. Who do you got?
I got my boy Tommy from last year, Tom Brady, New England. He got suspended, so his numbers are a little bit lower, but he's off the charts. He's very, very safe, and once again, he has a new toy in Cooks, which should up it if Gronk stays healthy. Sky's the limit. He could legitimately get up into Aaron Rodgers territory if those guys stay healthy.
Yeah, and I have him number 2 as well. I can't believe I have a 40-year-old quarterback number 2 in my fantasy rankings.
It's just too good.
He is, and the number, like last year, his completion percentage last year was 67%. It's, again, look at his last 4 years. He went from 60% to 64.1, 64.4, 67.4. He's just getting more accurate. He only played 12 games and still had 3,500 yards and 28 touchdowns and only 2 picks. Hey.
And if it was anyone but Brady, I would say, hey, there's going to be a regression. You're going to throw more picks. And he will. But he's going to have a full year.
Last 4 years, in the last 4 seasons, he has 122 touchdowns and 29 picks. It's just like...
You know what I love about him, too? You could easily, besides for if you take out the fact that he was suspended, you could easily say that he's going to have the opportunity to throw more touchdowns. And because of the reasons I already said, because of Cooks. But also, I mean, it was hard to believe, but the Patriots ran the ball a lot last year with Blunt. And he had 18 touchdowns rushing, and he's not there anymore. I realize they have a ton of running backs, but if you start the season with Brady and say that number gets cut in half for the leading rusher, those are possible for him in the red zone. So he could up his TD total by a lot.
Yeah, it's just... These numbers are just insane. It's just crazy. It's crazy. And last year he didn't get sacked. That's going to help him if the offensive line holds. He was sacked 15 times in 12 games last year. In 2015, he was sacked 38 times in 16 games. So that offensive line improved quite a bit, or he's just getting the ball out quicker. Who knows? Either way, he's not getting hit. Yeah, if he doesn't get hit, his age isn't going to really come into as big of a factor.
Yeah, and they do run a lot of intermediate routes, so he does get the ball out really quick.
They do so much of that, and they throw to those running backs. Like he's just they made it so he's not going to get hit like that.
Their offense is just it's just a very well-oiled machine. Yep. I don't expect any sort of blip on the radar as far as things that you have to worry about. No, and that's what I love about Tom Brady too. Is there's nothing you have to worry about, and some of these other quarterbacks you could say, besides for age, there's no knock against Brady. So pick him up. You won't worry about it. And I don't even think you'll have to pay an absorbent amount for him, to be honest. Because I think other people are going to reach for younger quarterbacks that they think can jump up there in the rankings. Might as well take Tom Brady and know what you're getting, which is a top 3 quarterback for sure.
Number 3, I have Drew Brees. Who do you have third? That's why I think we could start to differ.
Yep, I actually went with Matt Ryan.
Okay. Matt Ryan's my fifth quarterback here.
All right.
And so we both know who then my fourth is. But I'll just say it's Andrew Luck is my fourth.
And Andrew Luck is my fifth.
Okay. Yeah. So
Drew Brees is my fourth.
So here we go. We can talk about all three of these guys.
Yep.
And Brees, again, he's up there in age, but he just continues to be great every year. He did lose Cooks, so he lost one weapon. I mean, they replaced him with Ted Ginn. Not the biggest Ted Ginn fan, but I guess it's the same type of thing. A speedster is just going to go deep kind of a thing. I think what it's going to mean is he's still going to find, obviously, Thomas has been great, and he's going to find Snead. So he's going to be fine. He has weapons. And even the running game now with Ingram and Peterson and even Kamara. Like, he has plenty of weapons everywhere. I don't see a big downfall. And you said what?
Fourth.
So, yeah, you're just saying.
Yeah. Brees is as steady as they come every single year. He does absolutely wonderful. Yep. Maybe he doesn't have quite the dynamic players, like missing Cooks will possibly hurt him. But in the realm of things, they spread the ball so well in that offense that I'm not worried about it at all. I just put Matt Ryan above him.
And he has
the
ridiculous amount of weapons, too.
The most ridiculous offense I've seen in a while. Just start to finish from wide receiver to running back, and every single one can catch the ball.
Yep.
And Matt Ryan finished 2 overall.
I guess my only hesitation with Matt Ryan, it must just be the fact that we had so many years of Matt Ryan just being okay, and then he just jumped out of nowhere last year to be elite, kind of. Drew Brees has been there every year. That is it. That's I think it with me. I still have him fifth, but that might be my only reason I have him fifth. Just because he just did. Is this going to be that 1 year jump like Cam Newton did, and we've seen from other guys, or is this? I think it's the weapons. I think it probably is. If it wasn't legitimate, I wouldn't have him fifth. But I
have no problem with Matt Ryan dropping, if you will, to number 5. That's okay. He does come with a little more risk, but for me, I don't see it happening at all. And I think those numbers between Brees and Ryan and even Luck are probably going to be very similar. So you could scramble those guys a bit. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, and I think these guys are all going to go very similar prices. And I wouldn't. That's kind
of funny though, because I think Drew Brees will go for less of a price because he's been around for so long. Then I think people will reach on Andrew Luck a little bit. And Matt Ryan is an interesting one because I'm seeing that he's dropping in more kind of more mock drafts than I expected originally because he had such a wonderful year last year. I'm wondering if people think he's old news or the same.
It might be the same
concerns that
just
you
that
have.
one jump. I mean, that might be it. It's hard to say, but with Andrew Luck, talk about him. I wonder if he's gonna. What was it? I can't remember. 2014, where he had that just massive season, I believe. Yeah, 2014, 4,700 yards and 40 touchdowns. And obviously, he was hurt the next year. Last year, he did play in 15 games, but he was hurt. I felt like too most of it. He still had 4,200 yards and 31 touchdowns.
I mean, yeah,
if he plays a full healthy season with all the weapons he has now with Hilton, if Moncrief steps up like we seem to think he's going to, Dorsett. I'm not thinking it's going to happen with Dorsett. So
he does have a lot of weapons.
But Hilton and Moncrief alone, they're going to be great. And Jack Doyle's pretty solid tight end.
Yep.
The running game, it's steady. Frank Gore's steady.
Yeah.
So it's going to help him out there. And even if that doesn't work, Marlon Mack, the rookie, seems like he could do something. We'll find. I mean, we don't know at this point, but
I think the biggest thing with Luck was addressing that offensive line.
Yep.
I didn't hear anything huge splash, but supposedly they're shoring it up little by little. I have to believe it's going to be better than last year.
If he's healthy, it's going to be great.
Yeah, I mean, he still put up really good numbers last year. Yep. So that's why he's in my top 5, and then that's the next tier. I think it goes Aaron Rodgers, then those 4, and then a new tier begins.
And then it's where we start at 6, and this is where it just goes all
kind of crazy
the board. And I know I'm going to be high on my 6th. I'll get mine out of the way. I'm going to be way too high. I'm way higher than consensus.
Please just tell me it's not.
It's not anybody crazy.
I have a feeling. Is it Russell Wilson for you?
No, it's not.
Okay.
But it's not a crazy. It's Ben Roethlisberger.
Oh, okay.
He's consensus-wise, he's 12th right now. And we've gone over the whole Ben Roethlisberger home away, just weird.
I really love our theory on that. I really do want to try it.
My main thing with why I think he's going to jump up a little bit more and to be more kind of 2014-ish is I think he's going to have Martavis Bryant out there. And if you have Antonio Brown and Martavis Bryant and Le'Veon Bell,
all for a full season?
This is all, right now, his 6 this is all based on having those 3 guys all 16 games. At least 14 or 15 of them. That's why he's 6. It's basically, he has the potential to be that high with, those are some ridiculous weapons. If Bryant lives up to what he should be.
Yeah, and then you also have Eli Rogers.
Yeah. Sammy Coates, Juju Smith, they draft that guy too. Like,
I mean, he has... And they got rid of Ladarius Green, which I think kind of helped now. Yeah. Like, you might as well just cut ties
Jesse
with
James, who's fine in the red zone.
Solid, right? You can plan around that now.
It's my thought on Roethlisberger is just the weapons, man. The weapons are crazy.
Okay, and I had Roethlisberger as number 9.
Which is, that's still higher in consensus. We're both
because I do. He has so many weapons, and he's very good. He honestly, he would be in the top, if he played like he does at home all the time, he would be a top 3 guy.
Yeah.
He's really, really good. I do kind of worry about the fact that every once in a while he gets banged up, and the fact that he keeps contemplating leaving the game, which is not a big deal, but at the same time, you wonder his resilience when it comes down to it. But yeah, number 9 for me, I would love to have the guy and then back him up with someone else I believe in.
And I've kind of been trying to do most of my ranks based off what I think they could do if they were healthy. The only player I really wasn't on that was Keenan Allen. But I ranked him, but that was because he was actually hurt at the time.
He's still what, 85%?
I'm trying not to factor injury terribly much into it right now. I will probably as we get closer to the season. I might start to think about it more, but I think he has the potential to be 6. So who's your 6th player?
Number 6 is Kirk Cousins for me.
Okay, see, I'm way off on Cousins.
Well,
I've always been.
I don't know what the consensus for Cousins is, but he was very, very good last year, and I love his wide receivers that he has this year.
Yep.
We talked about it before, but Crowder, Pryor, you have Doxson now.
I think
Doxson. You have Reed.
And I think Doxson.
I mean, my gosh, you talk about, obviously Big Ben has way more, more talent,
but those
superstars, but the Redskins, or Washington, has legitimate superstar potential from a lot of young guys.
Yep.
And I think as a whole, I just think they could be really dynamic. I think it's very, very fun to watch them this year.
I put Cousins 12th. But it's not. It's really. I mean, this kind of range of players, I think you can just kind of. I'm almost thinking it's almost like 6 through 15 to me. To me, it's 6 through 15 are just interchangeable in a way.
I wouldn't go quite that far.
But it's close.
This is my question. What don't you like about
12,
Cousins? Because even last year, Cousins was ranked number 5 overall.
I'm not 100% sure.
And they don't have a run game that much either. I mean, we don't even know who's the starter.
I'm not 100% sure on the weapons yet. On Pryor, I like Pryor. I'm not.
I'm going to talk you moving Cousins up.
Pryor, I like, but Crowder, I've not been as big of a fan as you have. And I like Josh Doxson a lot, but there's no evidence that he can play yet. There really isn't. What evidence do we have that he actually can be an NFL player and be great? I'm taking a chance and hoping he is, but there's really no evidence. And then Jordan Reed. There's some players that are just injured all the time, and Jordan Reed is that one.
One of them.
He's one of those guys that is just constantly injured. That it's so
I
hard.
concede to that.
It's more of the running game. Robert Kelly does not impress me.
Well, even better, they're gonna have to throw more.
In P. Ryan, where everyone's getting big on him now and think he's going to step in, but yeah, he still wasn't. If this guy was so amazing, and I talked about this in the draft episode, he's my guy for this year. If he was so good, he should have been like a first rounder. So he's good, but he's not. It's just kind of. I think the weapons are good. I don't think they're great. That's pretty much it.
This is my question.
That's it.
Do you think
good, not great?
How do you think they stack up with Garcon and Deshaun Jackson from last year?
Okay, so basically at this point, it really depends on Doxson, doesn't it? Because then you could really say it's Pryor and Doxson in place of Deshaun Jackson and Garcon.
Correct.
If Doxson doesn't do anything, it's really just it's putting Pryor into Jackson and Garcon. That's the issue. Garcon, as much as we hate on him, he's consistent and he had over 1,000 yards. It's solid. Deshaun Jackson is so up and down. Pryor will be better than him, like just consistency-wise. I guess it really depends on Doxson, to me. If Doxson's healthy and he lives up to his draft status, yes, I think I have Cousins too low. That's pretty much it.
Gotcha.
It's just kind of a. I mean, how many of these receivers like Doxson have we seen in the last couple years that we just don't know if they're going to do it?
I see a lot.
Kevin White, Rashard Perriman. It's just like, okay, which one is finally going to do something? We think he's going to just because of where he was drafted.
Yeah. Tell you the truth, I don't even think he has to be that great. I think he has to be a serviceable wide receiver because I think Crowder, Pryor, and Reed, I think they truly are very good talent.
And if Reed stays healthy, Cousins should
that's always, if Reed stays healthy, that's always a big one.
It's weird to me in a way, Cousins' stats. 4,900 yards, 400 completions, and yet only, I think 25 touchdowns almost seems low in a way. So maybe he does have the potential to actually go higher. He really does.
Especially with someone like Pryor.
Yeah.
Who really and Reed, if he stays healthy, you'll have another red zone threat.
Yeah, he seems like he might have that.
I don't know.
25 does seem low for that many completions and that many yards. Yeah. It's kind of a strange stat to me. It feels like that should be 35.
Yeah, and I'm big on Cousins because I think he can be. Depending, do you have the consensus rankings up? What is he actually?
Let me see. I don't actually have him up right now. Let me find out here.
All right,
Cousins. I will find out in a minute. I don't actually know. I think he's 10th if I remember right.
So
10th.
So I think he's an undervalued guy because he did finish number 5 overall last year.
Yep.
And I think his weapons are actually going to get. I think they're better this year, and it's not necessarily because Deshaun Jackson and Garcon were bad. They get banged up. They're kind of near the end of their careers, and I realize Cousins doesn't exactly. That's not the perfect fit for him in Washington. But my gosh, they throw the ball a lot. I don't think you can go wrong with him just on bulk alone.
Yeah, that is my thing. I think they're good, not great. That's it. That's pretty much it. It is still, I have him 12th, but I'm saying my 6 through 12 is pretty interchangeable.
Okay. And so
he was your 6th.
Yep. You had Roethlisberger 6.
7. Derek Carr.
Me too.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, him again, Cooper, Crabtree, Jared Cook even now. I'm not excited about Jared Cook.
Yeah.
I never am because he always makes us feel like he should be great. And he doesn't quite do it except for the playoffs last year with Green Bay. And then Marshawn Lynch and now the backup running backs they have for him are solid. Richard and Washington. Those are good backup running backs. They have a lot of weapons on offense. So that's Carr. He was looking out. I mean, he really stepped up last year and started to become a good player. I think that continues.
Yeah, and he was he was only a handful of points away from jumping up all the way to number 6 last year. So, I mean, he was like 10 points away, or 8 points away, I'm sorry, overall in the rankings I'm looking at right currently.
Yep.
But so he was right there. I mean, and especially we think Cooper. I think both of us think that Cooper is going to make his next jump here. I think Derek Carr could make that next jump, and I think he could jump up into that spot right there. I think 7 is perfect for him.
That's pretty much what my thought is on him. Is I think the jump he's going to have that jump this year. Consensus wise, he's 11th actually. So.
I'm telling you,
6 through 12, they're all kind of the same to me.
Yeah, they're going to kind of up.
He's there, 11. I'm not nothing against that. We're both ranking it as we think he's going to take that step up, and we think Cooper's going to take that step up too. So that's kind of what that's where we're at. I think both of us there. So he's 7, 8. I don't think we have the same number 8.
I went with an oldie but a goodie on number 8.
Yeah, I went with Russell Wilson.
Okay.
I can just feel like you're not the biggest Russell Wilson fan.
I'm not. Well, I really like Russell Wilson as a player, but for fantasy, he does scare me. I think he comes with a lot of risk.
Yeah.
We saw exactly what it was last year.
Yep.
I have him at number 11. He just missed top 10. I think it can range anywhere. I think from where I have him, I think he could be anywhere from 8 to 12. I think that's kind of where he belongs. I've seen some that jump him all the way back up, thinking that he's going to return to the scrambling kind of guy.
And we went in our NFC West preview, a month or so ago, we kind of went into Wilson and how I don't think his rushing stats are ever going to come back to what they were.
No. And I think if you want to keep him healthy, they should.
And they don't. The only player I think who's ever had their rushing stats ever stay the same or become great when they're older is Michael Vick. That's about it.
And he's just a freak.
Yeah, he was a
freak athlete.
It doesn't happen. These running quarterbacks. I mean, Russell Wilson's not a running quarterback, but he got a lot of rushing yards.
Yeah, and you see it though. I mean, Griffin destroyed his career because they ran him to the ground. Cam Newton had a huge fall off because of that.
Yep.
I mean,
and that's the problem with Wilson is if the rushing stats aren't there, he's not quite as valuable as he used to be. But I still put him at 8th. I think he's going to be good enough.
I think his numbers will definitely bounce back a bit from last year.
His rushing stats will be better than last year. It's just they won't be at peak.
Yeah, and you saw him get better over the course of the year. It looks like he got healthy. So I'm expecting the last half of the year to be kind of more of what he did.
Yep.
But it still doesn't put him up in the top 5, where I've seen a few people do that, and I think that's absolutely nuts.
Do you know where he's at consensus? Do you want to know?
Yeah, sure.
6th.
Oh my! So one off of being crazy,
right?
All right, that's just not the way I see it.
And I think there's a lot of people thinking he's healthy now. The rushing stats are going to come back. Yeah, they're going to bounce back, but they're never going to. I don't think there's no reason for them to be up there. They have plenty of running backs that can do the running now.
Unless you're going to throw a lot out of the backfield now, which maybe they are more with pro size. I don't know. But, I mean, Baldwin, I can't imagine his numbers jumping a great amount. Graham was great, but at the same time, he did very solid. I mean, so who's that other guy? I mean, Lockett or
Paul Richardson was kind of stepping up a little bit. Lockett, I thought he got hurt, but we'll see if he's coming back. Jermaine Kearse is still solid. Jimmy Graham is solid. So he has weapons to throw the ball. I think he's going to throw the ball.
Russell Wilson was, and this is true, a little bit of points goes a long way, but he was 15th overall last year.
Yeah. To
jump him all the way back up to 6th just seems like kind of wishful thinking.
That's a little high for me because even at 8, I'm like, I don't know. I wasn't terribly happy with where I ended up slotting him, but
I'll give him this. The truth about certain guys on this list is they can jump up. You've seen they have the ability. Yep. Russell Wilson is one of those guys. He could make a dramatic, move towards the top, but it still doesn't mean you should slot him there.
Yep. Well, look at his rushing stats. Go the last 4 years. 2014 was that year where that's where everyone's still ranking him up there because of 849 rushing yards and 6 rushing touchdowns that year.
Wow.
Right? The other 3 seasons around that, he has 3 rushing touchdowns. And he's played 16 games every year. And he had 500 yards in 2013, 500 yards in 2015. Last year, 250.
Yeah, I think that's more.
If he goes back to it, he's going to get back to 500. He's never going to have 800, and he's never going to have 6 rushing touchdowns again.
No, and he's getting a little bit older, and I think it's going to probably level off. 300 yards maybe with 3 touchdowns, and that would still be quite good.
All right, who's your number 8?
I have Phillip Rivers.
All right, I have Phillip Rivers 9th.
Okay. So, wow. So we both have him in the top 10.
We are both much higher.
I'm surprised. Well, how was consensus?
14th.
14th. Okay.
To me, that's low. I
think once again he's old hat. People have seen it. Last year. I
loved the team.
I love the
offense.
Weapons, and it's like a lot of people. I love their weapons.
That's why they're ranked up here in the top.
He might have the greatest. He might have the greatest setup right now.
Has the potential to.
Yes.
That Melvin Gordon was great.
Yeah, and we're assuming Keenan getting healthy.
Back. It's if Mike Williams becomes like what he should be.
Exactly. And Hunter Henry steps into it.
And so even the other guys, Tyrell Williams is going to be as a third receiver on a team. Tyrell Williams is, I think, very good.
Inman, number 4th.
Yep.
So I think it's finally come together. And obviously Gordon was wonderful last year. He caught some passes as well. So I love Phillip Rivers. And the thing about Phillip Rivers, too, is he's kind of quietly good every year. I mean, even last year, he was number 8.
He had 4,300 yards and 33 touchdowns. It's what he seems to do is I don't know. I don't have the stats to back this up in front of me, but it feels like he starts pretty strong and then he kind of tails off at times. And the problem with Rivers is he does give you those dud games.
Yeah.
That is the biggest problem.
He's a little up and down, but I think because of all the talent now, and think about he was number 8 last year. After losing Keenan Allen, Antonio Gates was on the decline. Hunter Henry was a rookie. So you have Tyrell Williams, Inman playing 1 and 2, and then pretty much Gates, who have definitely lost a step or two as your starting tight end. And you lost Danny Woodhead, which they assumed he was going to be in there, so they planned for him. I mean, he did a marvelous job with much less talent, and now you get all those pieces back. I love his upside so much on this.
Yeah, and we've seen what Rivers has done in the past with everybody's been injured, nobody out there. So if he has people healthy, he's going to be great. The problem is, what's the likelihood of everyone being healthy on that team? It's not great, but if they are, he's going to be impressive.
Yeah, it's actually unbelievable. I mean, he always stays healthy himself, but I thought I was ranking him high, but the fact that he finished 8th last year kind of makes me feel like I should put him up even higher.
You're going to be able to, in an auction draft, probably get him for $2, $3.
Yeah,
so
I love that.
What you're not going to pay anything, and you're going to be able to draft him in a snake draft towards the end. That's one of the big things I like about Rivers. So you had him 8, I had him 9. We're at number 9 then for you.
I had Big Ben. And who do you have 9?
That was Rivers. So Rivers Roth. So we have our 9. We have everybody through that. 10. Again, I don't think we're going to have the same here.
I went with Jameis Winston.
Okay, Winston's my 11th. So we're close on that, and we've talked about Winston a lot and how we think he's going to. Him and Carr to me are the 2 guys I think have the biggest chance to step up and become the next tier and have somebody's going to have to become one of these top quarterbacks other than Andrew Luck over the next 10 years. The other guys are all going to be gone at some point.
And I don't think we even really have to talk Winston up. He has great
Evans,
weapons. They brought in Deshaun Jackson to help out. O.J. Howard. And Cameron Brate was very serviceable when he was there.
That's the second tight end.
Humphreys, Doug Martin will be coming back.
Yeah, and I think both of us are a little higher on Doug Martin, too. We think that he's better than probably other people everyone seems to be down on Martin and kind of done with him.
I'm not sure what, besides for the fact that he's an idiot and got suspended.
Yeah, he's been up and down. But I just feel like for some reason it's a gut feeling, I guess. Doug Martin's going to have a bounce back here. I have absolutely nothing to back that up.
Injuries and everything. He looked good when he was healthy.
And so, and Jameis, he's a number one draft pick. They most part, they all kind of get better and better here. I think.
Yeah, and he played very well for his first couple of seasons.
Yep.
I think people assume that players can come in at quarterback position and just perform right away. But you look, even Peyton Manning coming into the league through a obnoxious amount of interceptions, trying to figure out the speed of the game.
Yeah, it takes time for all these guys.
Yeah, Winston did
Rodgers
very, very well.
Sat for years. Drew Brees wasn't what he is now until he got to the Saints. He played with the Chargers. He wasn't that.
Yep.
Matt Ryan, obviously, we just talked about. He all of a sudden became what he is.
It takes a while. It's a very cerebral game when it comes to the quarterback position, and Jameis Winston has shown everying that you need to in order to jump up.
4,000 yards in both of his seasons. He had 28 touchdowns last year. That's more touchdowns than Kirk Cousins we talked about.
Yeah.
And he has more players to throw the ball to now.
Yeah, I do. I like his chances a lot. Better.
So my number 10, I'm taking a little bit of a risk, I guess, because I think he's going to bounce back. Cam Newton. And yeah,
He's another one I just talked about that has the ability to fluctuate.
Yep.
He really could jump way back up there. I have him at 16. I don't see it happening there as much. I just like everyone else more. But the guy is a super freak athlete, and he will finally get a little more help, and people will be a little healthy. So I can see that.
And last year, the yards were down a bit, and I think they will continue to probably be that. But he still had 5 rushing touchdowns. And over his career, last couple of years, he had 5. He had 10 the year before. That's when he was just amazing. 5 the year before that. So 5 rushing touchdowns is not out of the question. It's just he only had 19 passing touchdowns last year. But in 2014, he only had 18. So was 2015, was it that much of a discrepancy there in the thing? 35 that one year? It kind of worries me when I see that.
Yeah, I don't think he'll get back to 35. That's why I didn't put him up that much higher.
And is Calvin Benjamin going to be in shape? I mean, all these Calvin Benjamin out of shape rumors.
I still like Calvin Benjamin.
I do like him. I think
McCaffrey
I'm actually kind of happy
help.
with the out of shape rumors. I think he's going to drop to us in drafts now. But
I agree.
McCaffrey, I'm going to. And this isn't even taking a chance. I put him at 10. If I get Cam Newton on my team this is only going to be spending $1 or $2 in an auction. If he doesn't work out, I'll find the next guy.
Yeah,
I don't feel like this is even a chance.
I think there was too much to fix on that offense to return him to be a top 10 quarterback, and I think that's it. Their offense was so out of whack last year. I don't think they've done enough, and I think that having rookies in your system doesn't necessarily produce the first time around. So.
Yeah, and it's more of, I guess, just kind of thinking that maybe he'll bounce back more towards that last year, 2015 numbers. He won't, obviously. That is going to be the peak of Cam Newton's career, I believe.
That was a ridiculous year, so that would not be anything. That would not be bad.
All right, so my 11 was Winston. Your 11.
My 11 is Russell Wilson.
So we went over that. My 12 was Cousins. Your 12 was Roethlisberger? No, not Roethlisberger.
We haven't actually got to it yet. And this is where I know you hate this guy, but this is where Dak Prescott lands for me.
I have Dak 13th.
Oh, okay.
So I think
people
this
are
trend,
probably
I'm like one spot below you.
Yeah, I have a feeling we would get a lot of hate for this one because Dak did ridiculously well. He'd finish at number 6, and you're going to say, hey, he gets Dez back. But the truth is, his numbers were crazy skewed for proficiency, which won't regress. I just can't believe he won't throw more interceptions. They'll probably put in a little more. Plus, teams have a whole year to figure him out. And you can lean on that running game anytime you want, so you don't necessarily have to put the ball in his hands. I think last year was more of a...
And I might end up being wrong, too, on Dak, but somebody like him, with a quarterback that wasn't asked to do anything, had that strong of a running game, I need to see more from him to know. If he does it again this year, obviously, okay, yeah, he's for real. But we've seen Nick Foles do these kind of numbers.
Yeah, he's the guy I always go back to because there was such a huge drop-off.
Yeah, and so I think because of that, too, that's where I'm always hesitant on a player, and especially when they're not like a top draft pick type guy. If somebody does it and they're the first-round pick, you're probably, okay, that's what he should have done. Dak dropped for a reason. So if he does it one more time, okay, obviously I believe in it a little more. But he might still be able to put up numbers like that are solid because of how good of a running game they have. But they did lose a couple offensive linemen. It might not be the same offensive line this year. People are just assuming Dallas, great offensive line, but it's not exactly the same. We don't know if it's going to mean it's worse or not yet. But we don't know yet. And then Dak ran for 6 touchdowns last year too. So maybe that's going to be where he can continue to jump up a little bit.
Yeah, and I don't think Dak is a bad quarterback at all. I think he's a very good quarterback and a very young one. And I'm excited to see what he does. But like you said, a lot of rushing touchdowns, very few interceptions. He, like you said, he leaned on the run, or like I said. And then on top of that, you also had people that were underneath him. So, like, when he was ranked 6th overall, that is also with Tom Brady missing games. This is with Rivers having no one. This is with, So you put into perspective that I'm only dropping him in a few spots. So it's not like I'm expecting him to have a bad year. I just think these other guys will edge him out points-wise.
Yep. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I didn't think I thought he was a good quarterback. I wasn't overly impressed with him. I guess that's what I can say.
I was impressed. I was impressed at the fact he was a rookie.
Yeah, and I wasn't, but it wasn't like he wowed me very much. I guess. Yeah, no. That's kind of where I'm at with him. So he's your number 12. You said.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So you're number 13 then.
I have Matthew Stafford.
All right, and Stafford's 15 for me. He's never going to put up the numbers he did with Calvin. It's more of a dink and dunk type offense.
He's always very solid. He's kind of a streamer for me.
Yeah, and that's all. I think that's what he's going to be. A lot of it too depends on the health of the running backs. If they stay healthy, Stafford's going to be a little bit better. If Marvin Jones can do anything,
that's what I'm wondering. I mean, he does have room to move up. He definitely has the arm. He has all the ability in the world.
Yep.
The fact is, last year they changed their offense in order to be more proficient, in order to win more games, which was great. But it also
300 yards, yeah.
It's
just the touchdowns went down a bit.
Exactly. But he still has, like you said, first of all, Tate. If Marvin Jones gets his act together, if Ebron finally turns out to be the tight end they think he can be, and if you have Amir Abdullah healthy, who is wonderful in the catch game and is very, very shifty.
Yep.
That touchdown number could really jump up.
I guess if there's a player on my list that is the Matt Ryan candidate for this year, it's probably Stafford. That kind of been okay, been pretty good, and then all of a sudden jumped up. Maybe Stafford's that guy. Yeah. If there's anybody, he could be that one. I'm not predicting that's going to happen.
No. But Stafford was a top 10 guy last year. I mean, he's always very solid. He just never made that jump.
That's what I'm saying. I think he's the most likely candidate to make that jump if there's ever going to be somebody. But that also, for Matt Ryan, it was the weapons around him. So the same thing with Stafford. It really depends on those running backs and Ebron. I mean, we know what Golden Tate's going to be. Marvin Jones, we don't quite know what he's going to be, but I think he's going to be good enough. So not predicting anything, but that's where he's at. We'll go over quick here, little consensus ranks for the few guys we just talked about. Just going to go over that quick. Cam Newton was 7th consensus.
Really?
Yep.
Holy crap.
Right? That's a little high. Dak was 9th, so we're lower on him. We can see that. And then
I knew that was coming.
Stafford's 15th.
So we're right around there.
Yeah. So let's see here. He's your 13th. 14th player. We might have the same. Marcus Mariota.
Oh yeah,
right?
Good call.
I was
like, how would you know that?
I just looked at it and I figured it has to be Mariota.
Yeah. Yep. And we've talked about him at length and other times, but I love the weapons around him. Another guy that looked really, really good in his first couple of years.
I started to fall in love with the Titans' offense.
I did too,
in a random weird way. Like Titans and Browns, I think, are my team.
Yeah. I had a love for the Titans. So when I was making this list, I had to think realistically about him because I don't think Corey Davis is going to jump out and be a superstar immediately.
Yep.
And he has a lot of weapons I really, really like. But at the same time, other people have weapons as well. I think he's a wonderful quarterback. I think he's going to do great things. I just couldn't put him any higher on this list, even though I really, really wanted to. I think he has a huge upside, but I just couldn't really see them jumping his numbers up substantially enough to put him in that top 10 or anything like that.
With a rookie wide receiver like that, I feel like rookie wide receivers don't usually make as big of an impact as like Beckham did and Evans did. We talked about this. That was such an outlier.
Those are fluky.
the rookie receivers can be good. It's just not.
It's usually second or third year when they really come about, if you can tell if they're going to be good or not.
And there's a bit of a worry with Mariota. He broke his leg at the end of last year, so we haven't seen him since then, obviously. So we'll see, where that's going to be. We don't know, but again, if we're looking at a guy who has potential and you can get him for nothing, Mariota's the guy.
And he had a great streak last year. And I do want him to be, if I had him as a streamer as well to back up, say, a Roethlisberger or something, I'd be very, very happy.
Yeah, and if you go that no quarterback route like we like to, I wouldn't mind getting, if you're in a snake, like very end of the draft or an auction, getting two guys for $1. Maybe that's when you get two quarterbacks. If I get a top quarterback, I'm not worrying about a backup. But if you want to take a chance and get like a Mariota and a Stafford, maybe that's where maybe one of the guys steps up. That worked for me a couple years ago with Romo was my main guy, but for some reason I got a second quarterback. I didn't even mean to. It was Cam Newton, and it worked out. So you don't know. Maybe when you don't have a sure thing, maybe you get a second guy for $1 or a second guy for the end of the draft. Not like I always recommend having two quarterbacks, but
there's a lot of people to like, and you don't really have to pay for quarterbacks anymore. That's what the awesome part is. So even someone like Phillip Rivers, high on, or Ben Roethlisberger, if you could get Big Ben and then have a Mariota as well, you could play Big Ben at every home game, and then play Mariota on the off games, and I guarantee you would do very, very well still.
All right. Did we go over your 15th? I can't remember if we hit your 15th.
No. This is actually where Blake Bortles makes his appearance.
Right. Bortles is 18th for me. And it's just because I don't think Blake Bortles is that great of a quarterback, but I think there's still some potential there. And again, we've talked about Bortles as we've gone on these shows, and
he really struggled up and down. I couldn't go too low on him though, because he still put up decent numbers last year.
And it's even if they're behind, he's going to throw the ball around. He's going to fantasy wise, he ends up being okay. But
I'm just wondering with the run game, assuming it's going to take a big jump up. Their defense is very good. I think turnovers is going to be the name of the game, like what they're trying to get rid of, because I think they could win quite a few games actually with what they got going on. So I think they're going to try to control them a little more, even though they have a lot of and like Allen Robinson and stuff are great wide receivers, athletes. So I think they're going to try to restrict them a little more.
Yep. And Bortles, he's actually 21st consensus wise, so we are slightly higher. Look, what we thought we were going to be. I'm not surprised at that.
I feel like we're hiring every single person. Who are we missing? How is this working out?
We were lower on Dak. We were lower on, let's see. Yeah, we were lower on Dak and Russell Wilson and Newton. Those are kind of the main ones we were lower on.
I gotcha.
So we were actually lower on Marcus Mariota by one spot.
Oh, that's good.
But yeah, that's in Bortles. It's not much to talk about. We don't know. He's a big question mark.
Yeah, not to mention, it feels like they're trying to cut ties with him if he screws up again. So I just feel like that's no way for a quarterback to live.
If there's anybody out there that tries to tell you they know for sure Blake Bortles is going to jump up and be great, no one knows that. He could be out of a job in 4 weeks. We don't. He's like one of the biggest question marks, and I'm not confident in him like at all. So I'm just
and that's why it does take a hit on my list.
I'm not confident in it. But if somebody from this kind of bottom of our list jumped up, it wouldn't shock me to see him up.
No, because you see what he can do if they decide to chuck the ball down the field like they did 2 years ago.
Yeah, so he's your we said 15th.
15th.
His 16th for you was Cam, right?
Yep.
I have Eli. I'm never excited about Eli Manning. It's just, to me, it's the receivers he has right now.
Yeah, and no run game.
Yeah, and it's.
But he's so inconsistent.
He is.
You've seen it so many years now.
Yep. And that's all the reason he's there. It's Odell, Brandon Marshall, Shepard, Ingram. That's why he's there. Who do you have 16? Tyrod Taylor?
Cam.
Okay. No, 17 Tyrod Taylor.
Yeah.
All right. I knew your next player would be Tyrod Taylor.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I just knew that, and Tyrod Taylor is my 17th as well. Because I'm kind of looking at this list, and again, if there's a guy who has the potential to be up there, it's probably Tyrod.
Well, you look at and the great thing about him is he could get a legitimate number one wide receiver finally back. If he gets Sammy Watkins healthy, they have Zay Jones now, which I guess that just replaces Robert Woods.
Yep.
But and then McCoy can obviously catch it out of the backfield as well. And he does have quite a bit to work with.
It's the running too, his ability. He's had 500 yards each of the last 2 seasons, 568, then 580, 4 touchdowns, and then 6 touchdowns rushing. I don't see that going down yet.
That's just built into his game.
Yep. And that's why a player like him, his passing stats aren't. That's why if those passing stats do jump up, he becomes very valuable.
Yeah,
that's with him, because I'm pretty sure his rushing stats are going to stay very similar, at least for another year or two here, because some of these quarterbacks that start to drop off. He's 28 years old, but he's only been a starter for 2 years, so he doesn't have that wear on him. So I can see those rushing stats, and if Sammy Watkins can just stay healthy.
Yeah, I mean, can you imagine adding, I don't know how many touchdowns I could add to him, but, 5 touchdowns to his points already? I mean, that jumps him up so much.
Yep. All right. We actually, with Eli, we never said, where do you have Eli?
Eli is number 19 for me.
Okay, 19th. All right. And Eli's 17th consensus. Tyrod Taylor's 16th. So we're one spot low on Tyrod. We're pretty close on what people are thinking there. 18th for me was Bortles. And then you have...
18th was Andy Dalton for me.
And I have Dalton 19th.
Yeah, he's kind of interesting. I don't think he's ever going to jump up necessarily.
No.
But the guy does have a lot of weapons. I mean, I can't get over the fact, now that you have the speedster there.
Yeah,
and
a lot of it
AJ
depends
Green
on
healthy.
how good John Ross actually is.
Yeah, and we don't know that yet.
He's a question mark to me. Those kind of receivers, they can hit or miss with those speedster guys. He's not going to. So Dalton, he's a good streaming quarterback. That's what he is to me. And I don't think he's ever going to jump up there and be something but more than that. But he can put up a good week, especially in some, he'll have some plus matchups. The Browns matchup's still probably going to be a good one for him. Browns, I like are improving, but I still think that's a good matchup for him. He'll have twice a year, so you can always stream him those 2 weeks. So he's 18 for you, 19 for me, and then 19 for you is Eli.
Yep.
20, Carson Palmer is for me.
Oh, I thought we had it for the same. I actually went Carson Wentz.
Carson Wentz is 21st for me. So Carson Palmer, he started to fall off last year. Those receivers really disappointed him and fell off.
Yeah, I just don't see. They have the great run game, but Fitzgerald's another year older. I think he's still okay. They don't have Floyd, John Brown. I don't know. It's just a lot that I don't know about him. And Carson Palmer slips all the way to 22 for me. Unfortunately, just seems like it's at the end of his career.
It could be high, and he still had 4,200 yards. It's just,
he's not a bad
dropped, and
just fantasy wise.
Well, on the goal line, they're not going to look to try to throw the ball anymore. It's going to be all David Johnson. Yeah, he's probably going to drop. He's going to lose 5 to 10 touchdown passes just because they're not going to be throwing it like 4-yard line in. They're going to give the ball to David Johnson.
I kind of see it as a repeat of last year.
And he could have a couple decent streaming matchups, but that's about it. And he's consensus wise, he is 20th. That's where he's at. But as we get down here, none of these guys are going to be terribly exciting. So he was 20th for me. You had Carson Wentz. I had Carson Wentz 21st. He has Alshon now. That's kind of. But he had a solid rookie season, but he wasn't amazing.
No, especially for fantasy wise. He was 24th overall for quarterback, and you're expecting him to jump up. He has obviously the best wide receiver he's ever played with, and Alshon coming on, and seems like that run game might be a little more stable.
And I like Ertz at tight end. And what's going to happen with Wentz, where his completion percentage was solid, 62%. He had 3,700 yards. It's all about his touchdowns. He had 16 touchdowns. Mm-hmm. If those numbers can start to go up, I could see him getting up to 25. If that starts, he's going to start jumping up the board on his ranking. Yeah, it's just he's a second-year guy. We haven't seen him do much yet, so a guy like him, we can't really predict him to jump up that high. I can't sit here and recommend anybody go get Carson Wentz for sure.
Yeah, no. I think he's an interesting one, but I don't see it. I'm probably not going to end up drafting him. It's just too many question marks.
21. Did we go over your 21st player yet?
No, mine is Mike Glennon.
All right, Glennon didn't make. How much did you rank to 25? Is that what
I did? Yeah.
All right, yeah. I want to make sure we're on the same page. I didn't rank him 20. I'm in top 25. But
and that's fine.
I can see
Glennon. I kind of like it because I feel like no one's going to know what to expect from him. They have a good run game, and I think it's a very under. Assuming Kevin White is healthy, and the tight end, was it Miller?
Yeah.
They also have Cameron. I think it's kind of a sneaky good core to throw to. Actually, Kevin White we haven't seen a whole lot, but he is a very good athlete.
How many of these guys have these
there's
receivers we have not seen yet?
But I don't know. I can't imagine his numbers being that much that much lower than say a Wentz or something like that. I think he does have the ability. I might be a little high on him, but at the same time, I think if you're going to go for someone down here, which I guess I don't know why you would. He seems like he does have some potential because they're going to be down in a lot of games. They're going to have to throw the ball as well. I'm kind of banking on the fact that they're going to have a rough season, and that can help him actually in fantasy.
Yeah, it's an unknown, I guess, for me. It's kind of. All right, so that was 21. 22, I have Tannehill.
I had Carson Palmer.
Okay.
So.
Yep, Tannehill.
He was my 24th.
A lot depends on Devontae Parker for him. He still has Landry, solid. Kenny Stills.
He's been a darling forever of the fantasy world, thinking that he's going to jump up. I'm glad that finally people are kind of ranking him where he should be.
Yep.
I don't think there's anything too special about this guy, but
no, I don't.
He does have an interesting offense to work with, so we'll see what he does.
Yeah, these are the guys. At this point, we're not recommending any of these guys. Really, they're just kind of where they are. They might have one player from this group might jump up and become a top 15 guy. Maybe that's about it. 23, I have Flacco, and
Flacco was 25th for me.
Flacco seems to be a guy who you stream twice a year when he plays the Browns.
He just never puts up. He never puts up crazy fantasy numbers.
And I'm not sure about his receivers really yet because Rashard Perriman.
Yeah, I mean, Mike Wallace?
Yeah, no more Steve Smith. He had 4,300 yards last year. But he only had 20 touchdowns. He doesn't just do enough. So 23rd
for me was Brian Hoyer, actually.
Okay, Hoyer didn't make my top 25.
And that's okay. I think when I'm this low, I'm banking on the fact that they're going to chuck the ball a lot. Once again, they're going to be their defense
throwing the ball
could be pretty good. I can't tell because they have a lot of young guys on it, but their defense might be better than people think.
Yep.
But Garcon, he's okay. He's pretty good. He could easily get to 1,000 yards. Hoyer needs people to throw to. Everywhere he goes, if he stays when he's playing, when he's healthy, he actually looks okay. So if he actually plays an entire year, it'll be interesting. I think they're going to be behind in a lot of games because, I think they're going to struggle.
Yep.
So once again, I think that the volume that he's going to have to throw actually could help.
And I'll just round out my top 25 with two unexciting players, Alex Smith and Sam Bradford.
Yep, don't care about either of them, but I get where you're coming from.
They're just
with that.
Not exciting. Sam Bradford, he's interesting in a way because of now the running game is Latavius Murray, Dalvin Cook. Wide receiver wise, he has all kinds of guys actually who are just interesting. Yep. Adam Thielen, I actually kind of like.
Thielen,
is Treadwell going to do something?
Yes.
Diggs is solid. Michael Floyd,
and Rudolph catches quite a bit of touchdowns.
It's not. There's not like overwhelmingly excited about those guys, but hey, maybe. But Sam Bradford is kind of shown to just be what he is. It's unexciting. He's fairly accurate. He does that, but it's because he's not taking chances. He's not throwing for big yards. He's not throwing all these touchdowns. It's just he's become. I don't think we're going to be surprised by Sam Bradford and have him just jump up there and be something that he's not. I don't see that happening. But I mean, still, when he said all these quarterback numbers are just unreal when you really look at it. When a player like Bradford, we're so just bored by him in a way, and he had 3,800 yards.
Right.
he had 71.6% completion percentage.
That's ridiculous.
That's insane. Right. But it's just because he's not airing it out very much.
Yeah. So we went through both of our top 25s. Yep. If you're looking at, say, outside the top 10, if you look at one of these guys lower down the list, who excites you the most where they could make that jump and be QB1 this year?
If we're looking kind of outside, I'll go outside the top what?
Say go from 15 on.
15 on. Let me look here. I mean, I guess it's probably gonna have to be Carson Wentz for me, just because of if I go this far down, just because he's still a second-year guy. We don't 100% know what he is. The other guys on my list, Bortles, I'm just not. Bortles is. I don't think he's that good of a quarterback. I mean, that's it. Tyrod Taylor, I think he can be okay, but I don't think he's ever going to jump up there. Dalton, I don't expect to Palmer. None of those. I guess it has to be Wentz. I really do. He has. If someone's going to ever jump up there, it's going to probably be a guy like Wentz. What are you thinking?
Cool. I was going to say Cam Newton is down there for me, so I guess I would have to say him. But I actually do like, if you're going to go that low.
Yeah. I don't see a lot of guys that could do it.
No, I kind of like Mike Glennon because of the unknown factor. But if I had to pick one, I'd probably say Tyrod Taylor with Sammy Watkins back the entire year. I think that would be huge for his production. Yep. So I think Tyrod Taylor could be a sneaky one.
Yep. All right. Well, I think that's our quarterbacks. And those, the bottom of the quarterback list is it's a bunch of guys. Really, you might have to stream them 1 week. That's pretty much what it is. If you're in a 2 quarterback league, these guys are much more interesting, and you're gonna need to be looking at these. But if you're just in a one quarterback league, 10, 12 teams, you're rarely getting these. You will see these guys on the waiver wire every week, and you're not going to have to really worry about them. All right, but that'll be it for quarterbacks. We'll be back with our final ranking show, tight ends. Go over that list for you.
Welcome to the Fantasy Football Prophet Podcast, hosted by Craig Phillips and Jeff Torrey. Visit us at fantasyfootballprophet.com. And now your hosts, Craig and Jeff.